about a couple of months ago, I had a dream about America, and forewarning, it was pretty graphic. It was pretty gory. So if this is not your type of conversation, you can go ahead and log off. In this dream, I was standing inside of this massive warehouse, and it was so big, y'all. It felt endless, and inside there was a whole community under one roof in this warehouse. And as I was viewing, I was in the dream, and I was viewing it in like third person view. And as I'm beginning to analyze the situation I'm in, I see in one section there were people graduating from school. They were in caps and gowns. They were receiving diplomas. Then I turned to look at another section, and there was a full-on church service going on. They were shouting, praising, giving God the glory. Then I looked in another section, and there were kids that were playing. Families were just living life. It felt like hope. It felt like community in this massive warehouse. Then, suddenly, outside, I heard chaos rising. Trucks pulled up, big old trucks. In my dream, the best way I could see it, they were like F-150s, big old trucks, big trucks. And the moment everyone in the warehouse heard them outside pull up, it's like everyone knew what time it was. So I began to watch everyone in the warehouse stop doing what they were doing. The people who were graduating, receiving diplomas, stopped midway. The people who were in the church service stopped midway. The kids who were playing stopped midway. Everyone in the warehouse stopped whatever they were in the midst of doing, and they began to grab guns and weapons. It's like they were like preparing for war. And we got outside, and when those trucks stopped, people got out. And this is where the dream was a bit strange to me. When these people got out of the trucks, most of them were white people. But here's the strange part. It wasn't just, a black versus white thing, because most of the people in the warehouse were black. So in my head, I'm thinking this is going to be a race war, black against white. But no, the strange thing is some of them, once we got outside and got in the field outside of the warehouse, some of them switched sides. Like some of the people that were in the warehouse switched sides and started fighting alongside the people who came in the trucks. And vice versa, some of the people who came in the trucks switched sides and started fighting along with the people who came out of the warehouse. And what broke me in this dream was I was seeing women and children getting killed. It was black against black. It was white against white. It was black against white. And it was white against black. It was basically community against community. And in the midst of all this blood being shed, these babies getting offed, these women getting offed, these men getting offed, communities of people, human beings. I looked up, and in the midst of while I was looking up, we was in a field, and it was full of sheds. And the women and the children were trying to hide in these sheds for safety. I saw people literally go to the sheds, open the sheds door, and yeah, awful. It was horrible. It was a very graphic dream, and it disturbed me really bad. And within the midst of being in this field full of sheds, there was this one big shed that was bigger than all the other ones, and it stood out. And hanging on it was a giant American flag. And then that's when I woke up from the dream, and I couldn't help but wonder, was this just a dream that I was having, or was this a warning? Because one of the key things I recognized out of the dream is that it wasn't just a black versus white. It was Americans versus Americans, people who are supposed to be a part of one community. But yet we were fighting each other. We were killing each other. We were doing horrible, awful things to one another. And blood was being shed. And I looked up and I saw the American flag. I don't believe that I had that dream by accident. I believe that was symbolic to what we may see going on here in this country. There's a lot of division, whether it's racial, whether it's political. There's division.
Shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, Hashem, YAHAWASHI, Hashem, Quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone. Shalom to mighty Akim, Wathim, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this final captivity, as well as a speckled bird that may look like the other nations, but are actually Yasharallah. This is Brother Kawakab coming at you with no lesson. Shalom to the speckled bird that may look like the other nation, but actually, well, yeah, I already said that. Slakia. Today's lesson, we're going to be going into Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And the thing here is how apparently the thing that's going on is the fact that, you know, people are they don't even care anymore. They're just going to go out and, you know, kill one another. And all this whole all this whole, you know, love your neighbor and all that stuff, like that's far gone. And, you know, we see how people are not just, well, primarily we see how people are starting to treat each other evilly, or having an evil eye towards one another recently or now, but now it's only getting worse. It's like people are growing to hate each other more. And I think the best way, I think this dream is a really good illustration of what is to come, which is basically the fact that it's not going to be a pretty sight when, Jacob's trouble comes. Let's actually get this. Jeremiah 30 verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it, is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And the thing here is how, the dude was out explaining how initially there were some Jakes that were in a warehouse or whatever, just, I don't know, church service or something like that. And then some Edomites came like that. I'm not going to lie. That kind of like surprises me because I kind of, what's the word? I kind of understand and comprehend like, okay, yeah, wheat and tares and stuff like that. That's fine. I know that. I also know in general that Esau really just does not like each other. Like Edomites don't like each other, but it's just like sometimes it's just like it's mostly to me, Slakia. Because man, from my own perspective, is the thing that baffles me is like in the midst of attacking Jake, the Lord, I guess the Lord put the spirit on them, is going to put a spirit on them to be attacking one another. Like this is what makes me like think like, okay, wow, like that's kind of strange, out of the ordinary and whatnot. So yeah, I thought I had to incorporate this, I had to add this. And next, Romans 13 verse 11, and that knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. And the thing here, let me actually get this in 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahawah to the pulling down of strongholds. And basically we have to be ready for spiritual war. We have to be and he said, he spoke on how the people were ready, but he spoke on how the people were ready, or they got ready immediately as soon as they heard the stuff. But are we ready, like for real? Like, are you ready for real? Like right now that, okay, well, something pops off, something happens and whatnot. Are you going to be ready in terms of, in the eyes of Yahawadah, or you just, you're not, you're always going to be ill prepared, and then when something happens, then it's like, who could have saw this coming and whatnot? All right, well, an example, another thing about that is Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 2, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. And basically the thing here is, as we see these dreams, we hear people having dreams, just the fact that people have dreams and much more, we should know that, oh yeah, this is a faith booster, because okay, well, it means that we're just that much closer to deliverance, and we're just that much closer to Yahawashi's return for us to be delivered. All right, next, Matthew 25 verse 11, afterward came also the other virgins. Well, hold on, no, it's over here in Matthew 25 verse 20 verse 8, and the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. Basically the thing here is the parable of the 10 virgins. The 5 virgins were foolish and 5 virgins were wise. Where what happened was, the wise, they had preemptively gotten already prepared, like they filled their lamps up with oil so that they would be ready to go searching for their bridegroom. While the foolish they were like waiting until the last minute. And then let's continue on, actually, verse 10, and while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterwards came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour when the Son of Man cometh. Basically, they didn't know we don't know the exact day of when Yahawashi is going to return. But the thing that we do is that we're always ready. We're always like, okay, if the Lord comes today, for example, because he's going to be coming like a thief in the night. If he comes today, okay, well, that's fine that's fine by me, because I've already been doing this stuff. I've already been, planning, and not necessarily planning, but holding the oil, which is this wisdom for when Yahawadah returns, so that, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I don't need to do any preparation, or I don't need to go anywhere to brush up on anything. All right. So Mark chapter 3 verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. That's basically what's going on here, where even then these other people are divided against themselves, and they are destroying themselves as a result of it. So hence, what we have to look forward to. So with that, I pray the system was edifying. I'm going to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, SHAMAIWAN, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone of all, and shalom.